What we've seen in Australia over the last decade is a real shrinking of the production of news locally. A lot of closures, and that really intensified. So prior to the pandemic, there was around about 100 closures of local papers in the 10 preceding years. There's been 215 just since the start of the pandemic in Australia. So really, major changes to the business model that are putting local publishers under a lot of pressure.
There's three reasons regional and small publishers are important for Australia. First, they cover the issues and events that metro and national mastheads are not interested in, local sports, for example. Second, they keep local government accountable, so they shine a light so corruption can't grow in darkness. And third, they give a voice to the local community.
We could see the big trends that were affecting publishers in Australia and internationally. But what we were aware of was that, like for many small publishers, they lack the in-house experience, the digital sort of smarts and capability to really make this transition.
Project Kookaburra is a bunch of real-world experiments. We did these with small publishers right across regional Australia. In each case, we were trying something that they'd never tried before.
We work with the Narrandera Argus, which serves a region to the west of Wagga in New South Wales. We help them think about how they could actually kind of create digital properties for a bigger region, a bigger footprint. Then we worked with the York Peninsula Country Times in South Australia. So we created a bespoke kind of microsite, Farming Extra, which they created farming content and then worked to develop some digital revenue streams around that kind of very niche but valuable audience. We work with an amazing publisher down in Tasmania called 40 South, who had been going for 20 plus years. We helped them transition from this very amazing, beautiful, infrequent quarterly print publication into a living, breathing digital publication. So we worked with a publisher called the Sunraysia Daily in Mildura. But basically what we helped them do was create a standalone section which told 100 different stories from their 100 years. And eventually they created this kind of microsite. The last publisher we worked with was the Fassifern Guardian, who were a very established business, founded in 1901, who'd been serving the scenic rim. So we developed the newsletter product, we worked on the branding, we worked on a whole load of sign-up kind of pathways for people. And then we also experimented with a kind of welcome series when people signed up. So over the 3 months of the project, we grew the newsletter list by more than 100%, 109%. And open rates, I think, for the emails averaged 49% over the 3 months, and click-through rates 14%. So all of those numbers were way above the kind of industry averages. The key things that we learned were that with the right approach, publishers whose business model is under great pressure can really buck that narrative. Really about being dynamic and trying to seize those opportunities, and really, deploying and harnessing data to do that. Smaller local and regional newspapers just often haven't developed that kind of skill set within their newsrooms. For them, sometimes it was a real revelation to be able to know where audiences were going and what content they were consuming. So Google were very receptive to recognize the problem as we saw it, to provide the training and consultancy that we provided, but also additional work that Google supported. Without creating digital business models that are sustainable, there's not going to be an ability for an outlet to have the public interest journalists that we believe is essential to keep that community healthy.
So, what's next for Project Kookaburra? We're actually launching Project Kookaburra 2 as we speak. And again, more real-world experiments, focusing specifically on financial sustainability for regional publishers. And we will have some results next year, so watch this space.